There we are. And then we can adjust ourselves here, make sure we're all in the picture here. There we go. Should be good. The only reason why I was like moving the camera was because it's very bright. But that still gets all of the RedBarn.
Yeah.
And everything's like switched around. Everything's kind of flipped. So, okay. Okay. So hi guys. We'll wait for a few people to get on, but this is our second live Lunch and Learn series that we're doing this month. We did one yesterday with Shelby Flynn, and she was with Pet Relief. We were talking about CBD oils, so if you guys missed that yesterday, all of our videos from this month are going to be on our website that you can just pull up anytime and rewatch those if you missed them during our live viewings. Hopefully you guys can hear us. So there's Nicole. Hey Nicole. She has two big dogs in her back room right now. So today I have Jason Meister with me, and he's with RedBarn. And so we are going to be talking about natural chews today, boredom busters, alternatives to rawhides, just different treat options for your pets, especially with the holidays coming up and you're looking to keep your pet busy when maybe you are cooking or having guests over. So we have a lot of treat options to talk about, and RedBarn is one of our biggest selection of treats that we carry, and so we're going to go over those for you today. So looks like we have some good viewers watching. If you guys have questions, please just put them there in the comments and we'll do our best to answer. But again, this is Jason and he's with RedBarn. And so Jason, how long have you been with RedBarn?
I've been with RedBarn for about 3 years now. But have been working in the pet industry for a long time. Yeah, it's probably been 15 plus years.
Yeah. Well, cool. And what kind of dogs do you have? I forgot.
At home, I have a Great Dane and a Mastiff, so I like the big ones. Yeah. But then cats and a snake and fish and all sorts of other stuff too.
We get calls a lot if we have feeder mice, crickets, like those sort of things, and unfortunately, we just have dog and cat stuff here. But, well, cool. We're going to roll into some questions for Jason that we already have. And some of you guys, as you're watching, like I said, just if you have any treat-specific questions, please shout those out. One of the first questions I wanted to ask was if anybody has a new dog at home, specifically a puppy. We get asked that a lot, like what are safe treat options for puppies? You know, people are worried that the puppies are teething and they don't want their tooth to crack on a bone or something like that. So what would you suggest for puppies, and specifically puppies that are maybe like some of you all at home, your puppies are chewing your shoes or your like cabinets, I've heard it all, or chewing through their harnesses or things like that. What's a good treat option for puppies?
So yes, puppies, you definitely want to keep them occupied. They're young, just like, our kids and everything else. If they're bored, if they're not entertained, they're going to get into trouble. So you definitely want to keep them occupied. A lot of chews, different toys like that are great options. But you do also want to make sure that you're picking kind of the right type of chews for a younger dog. With puppies, they have their little puppy teeth, and so when they're teething, they are going through that a lot, but you typically don't want to use something super hard like an antler or even sometimes the bully sticks can be a little tough. They can actually knock their little puppy teeth out on them.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world. Their adult teeth will grow in, but you do want to go with something typically a little bit softer. And you also want to choose something with good digestibility for the pups as well.
Right.
Because their immune system, their digestion is still developing.
Right.
So some of the best picks that I have for them, the puff braids are an excellent option. These are beef esophagus that is just braided together and baked and puffed out. These very high protein, high fiber, but are also a bit softer in texture, so they've got more give to them for the little guys. These are actually an ideal treat as well for senior dogs when their teeth and gums start getting a little more sore, or they don't have the jaw strength anymore. They usually still want to chew things,
Right.
but sometimes my Dane, for instance, he's going on 11 now, and he's always been a big chewer. He loves the treats, but he gets to a point now where anything that's too tough, and you can tell, the next day he's feeling it. So these ones are an excellent option that definitely just have a lot more give to them for younger and senior dogs.
Grizzly's here too. He's behind the counter. But Jason was talking about how these are good for senior dogs too. I mean, it all kind of depends on your dog's chewing personalities. Ours, like Raleigh and Grizzly, they just don't really want those super, super hard chew treats. So for Raleigh and Grizz, they really like these. And there's actually 2 different sizes. So there's a small, medium, and then there's a larger size of this.
Yes,
right?
Yeah, it's about twice that size.
Yeah, so the puff braids would be good for your puppies, and then for your maybe senior dogs. Raleigh's 8, Grizzly's 9. So maybe for those dogs that don't need as hard of a chew treat.
Another great option in that vein is the new Chewables Dental Chews. These things are adorable. They come in a bunch of fun shapes and sizes, little fire hydrants, horn toads, chips, toothbrushes. Now these ones we typically don't recommend for very young puppies. Usually you want them at least a few months old or so, just because, as I mentioned, that digestive system is still developing when they're baby puppies.
Right.
But on these, typically once you get to 3 or 6 months or so, you're fine giving these to them. And these are not super hard options, but also do a great job at cleaning plaque and tartar, keeping their breath fresh. It's basically like a toothbrush for your dog. So you can give them to one of these a day, and it's basically like brushing their teeth, just like we would.
Yeah, and they do smell good. I like the smell of them, so I'm all about smelling things. But yeah, and I feel like RedBarn stuff too is you're going to be talking about it more, but everything, especially like the natural chews, they're like very limited ingredient. It's like a single ingredient treat.
Yes.
Like the puff braid is just a beef esophagus, right?
Yeah.
And so you have a lot of those just really single ingredient type treats that if your dog does have a sensitive stomach, those are going to be the route that you'd want to take just to make sure that there's no digestive issues or anything like that. So, yeah.
Couple other great ones for puppies are going to be the ears as well.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big proponent of either cow ears or lamb ears for the younger puppies. Pig ears are certainly a great staple. We sell tons of those every year. However, pork is a little bit more oily. Typically for your adult dogs, it's just fine.
Yeah.
But for the puppies, sometimes the lamb or the cow ears are a bit easier on digestion.
Mm-hmm.
They're not really greasy at all.
No,
These you can and they break down and digest very easily. So those are also great options for them.
The ears are a staple here.
Yes.
We sell a lot of the ears.
Yeah, the ears are nice, affordable, great little quick treat for them, and definitely very popular for us.
For sure.
But yes, a lot of our products are very simple ingredients. We try to keep things as natural as possible.
Mm-hmm.
We don't use a lot of really any kind of chemicals or harsh, ingredients in our processing. Most of our stuff is very simply either slow roasted or air dried. So we try to retain as much of the nutrient value of these treats when we're cooking them as well, so that you're retaining as much of that nutrition as possible.
And they're real animal parts. They're not. This is not a rawhide. These are alternatives to that. They're safe. These treats aren't bleached. They don't have chemicals on them. They don't, things like formaldehyde and those sort of things that other lower end treat companies use. I feel like that's why you guys are such a standout treat company. Because, you're more of a natural natural treat option. And safe.
So and that's typically what people want for their puppies. Most dogs are not all that picky with the treats and chews that you give them, but we want the best for them. We want something that is going to be healthy, and the dogs certainly love all of this stuff. And why not give them something that is actually going to be healthy and nutritious, high in protein and fiber for them. So.
Let's see what else we have. So that was covering puppies, which is really good, and some on the senior dogs as well. What about people who want to know how they find the proper chew size for their dog?
That's definitely
making sure that they're buying the right size treat.
Yeah, that's definitely very important for you folks out there. Always want to make sure that you're selecting the right size and durability for your puppy or your adult dog. Chew size and durability is pretty important. You never want anything that is too small or could pose a choking hazard for the dog. So, for example, with our dental chews here, we have ones that are down in the very small mini size, but this you definitely don't want to give to a lab or a golden or something that could try to swallow this. That could pose a choking hazard. You want to give them something in the large size that they're going to have to chew down. Little dogs, your toy breeds, your small breeds, they're a little bit easier. If you give them something a bit larger, that's not as much of a hazard, but especially with your mid to large size breeds, you definitely want to choose something that is large enough that it won't fit down their throat or pose a choking hazard. But for chew durability, typically we kind of break things down into your low, moderate, and power chews is kind of how we define things, and many of our products will have those labeled on them, but you can also hit up RedBarn.com, and we will have a complete breakdown of all sorts of chew strengths and durabilities. So
cool.
Things like I mentioned, the puff braids, the ears and things, those are typically low to moderate chews. For a power chewer, a large breed aggressive chewer, they're still going to be fine chewing on those, but they'll take them down in a couple minutes. Whereas on the other end of the spectrum, for your big power chewers, your aggressive, powerful pit bulls, Rottweilers, Mastiffs, anything like that, a lot of jaw strength. You want something that's a bit tougher for them. Antlers are certainly a great option. Those are, not indestructible, but they will last for a very long time.
That's what I tell people too.
And we have options in both the whole antlers as well as split cut. And the difference here for folks is usually if you're just starting out a dog with antlers, if they've never had one before, I usually recommend going with a split cut. You'll have more of that bone marrow exposed, which is typically what the dog is after. They want the marrow out of here. And so that entices them quite a bit more. But then if you find you've got a very powerful chewer who is going through antlers, within a week or something instead of it lasting for a month or more.
Right.
That's where you can switch to a whole antler. Is going to be far more durable, and once they realize,
That
they've
marrow.
already had a taste of the marrow, they'll keep chewing on a whole antler until they
Yep.
get it, whittled down or can get at it.
Yep. These are good. We do sell quite a few of these. What's the difference between the deer and the elk? I always get those confused.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
So deer and elk, very similar in terms of nutrient. They're both going to be very high calcium, good mineral content in there. But the elk is a little bit softer. The antlers do tend to be a bit chunkier, a little thicker. But they are a bit softer. So if, as we were talking about, if you have those large, powerful chewers, whole deer antler is going to be the toughest option available, whereas a split cut elk is going to be a little bit softer for them to go through.
Yeah, because, I mean, these are extra, extra large, half elk antlers, but, I mean, they do have a lot of exposed marrow, too, so... Like you were saying earlier, for dogs that have never had antlers before, like that introduces them to the good stuff in the center, which then you can move up to a whole antler and make it a harder treat for them to get to. Yeah.
So, and I guess a little sneak preview for you folks. We also should have moose antlers on the way.
Wow.
I just got word of that.
Oh my gosh. Cool.
Probably not even supposed to be shooting that out on the internet, but
well, you guys know that are watching.
Yeah, well,
be okay.
Mum's the word.
Yeah.
So.
Well, cool. So we do have a question on here from Joyce. She said, "Are any of these suitable for a dog with kidney disease? Any of your RedBarn treats that you would recommend?"
So with anything like kidney, liver function, our first recommendation is always going to be speak with your vet first.
Sure.
Yeah, because every situation can be different, so you definitely want to consult with your vet. But there are certainly going to be good options for liver and kidney function.
Yeah.
Usually it depends on the specific situation. Some dogs, they have to watch like potassium levels or protein. So if you're avoiding really high protein stuff, you're going to want to steer clear of, say, bully sticks.
Okay.
Some of the esophagus treats and things are actually going to be some of the highest protein chews on the market. But antlers or some of the filled bones might be perfectly fine for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, it will depend a bit on the specific situation that you're dealing with, but chances are we should, with consultation with your vet and everything, there should be good options available depending on what you need.
Yeah. Hopefully that helped Joyce a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find where I put my phone. Okay. I have to hold Raleigh. He's being a baby. Okay. Let's talk about the bully slices. I have so many people that come in. Like, you can buy the bully slices individually. You can also buy them packaged. And so many of you, like, your dog's favorite treats are the bully slices. And I get asked all the time, like, what are bully slices? And are they, what benefits do they have for our dogs? So, for all of you bully slices people, this will be a good review for you.
Bully slices are definitely one of our most popular chew items. Kind of as a category right after the bully sticks, our slices are probably our number 2 as a category. But these are excellent little treat chews for the dogs. These things, you'll notice, have a very similar chew strength and durability to rawhide.
Right.
Except the slices are essentially made with cow ear and beef cheek.
Okay.
As opposed to your hide. So these ones are pretty much a conglomeration of like cow ears and beef cheeks. In terms of the hide of the animal, and this can get a little confusing because the USDA really doesn't draw a distinction. Everything on the outside of the cow is hide to them.
Right.
However, most people, when you're talking about rawhide, that actually comes out of the leather tanning industry. It's a subdermal layer of the side of the cow.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very tough. It really doesn't break down and digest.
Right.
So for many dogs, it can cause a lot of problems, not to mention the fact that especially cheaper sources, they're treating it with the chemicals that they use to make leather, and then the rawhide is the scraps from that. So it has been soaked in formaldehyde, bleach, a number of other times, and not the greatest. Cow ears and beef cheeks, however, are mostly collagen and cartilage. It's just like our cheeks and ears and noses. This stuff has that same kind of strength that people are looking for to give them a little bit of chew durability. But this stuff actually breaks down and digests much more readily. Much easier on digestion, and there's actually more nutrient content with the collagen and cartilage than there is with hide. There's a bit of protein in it, but there's not much in the way of nutrition. So the bully slices are an excellent alternative to that. There is just about no dog that won't enjoy these. They tend to be popular, large breeds, small breeds. And they work very well for, these would be another one that puppies and seniors are probably good with. They're not super
safe for
tough, and just a great little chew. The only thing on these you got to watch, as we were talking about with appropriate sizes and everything. I do have my Dane is what we would call a gulper. They pretty much will try to soften up anything they can, and as soon as they get it soft enough, they'll try to swallow the whole thing.
Grizzly does that.
Okay, so with them, if you've got a dog that's like that, I know Goldens are kind of famous for that as well, where as soon as they can get it down their throat, they will. You do want to watch them with these, make sure that they're chewing, and taking pieces off and chewing them down, because some of them will try to soften this entire strip up and then immediately swallow the whole thing. But aside from that, most dogs do quite well with these.
And they're easily digestible, which is good.
Yes, and we also coat these in a vitamin-fortified gravy. Cool. So there's actually some hip and joint supplements in there, good sources of natural glucosamine and chondroitin, and some other vitamins and minerals. They vary a little bit. The original, the peanut butter, and the vanilla all have the same vitamin fortification. The French toast we did a little bit differently. That does not have the joint formula in it. We use a different kind of vitamin assortment in here, but we did that so that we could make these ones a pretty much a no sugar option on there. These ones, very, very low sugar content, but with the vitamins that we add, you need something a little sticky to get it to adhere to that. And especially so that the coatings don't leach or bleed when the dog's chewing them up. That's another thing that we test a lot for, is to make sure that, I never recommend you give your dog a chew and let him, gnaw it on your white suede sofa or anything, but we do make sure that even, on the floor, on carpeting, stuff like that, that our products aren't going to leach off and stain anything.
And I get that question a lot too, which is good deal. And then Deborah's watching too, and I want to talk about maybe some cat treats as well, because she was wondering, her cats are not huge fish, they don't like the fish treats as much, so she was wondering if RedBarn has some good cat treats that are fish free.
We do. We actually have some cat crack here called our protein puffs. These things have been incredibly popular for us. We make these for both cat and dog, and actually the cat ones are currently outselling our dog ones. Which, if you know much about the demographics, normally dog products outsell cat, usually the 8-10 to 1. But these ones have been so popular amongst cat people because the cats go pretty nuts for these, and very, very healthy options. So they come in a few different flavors. We've got a chicken, turkey, and there's also a salmon flavor. And these things are actually made out of an ingredient called caseite. It is a milk protein that is typically what you see in human bodybuilders if they're doing those protein shakes or those other supplement type items.
Yeah.
It is almost always either caseite or whey that they're using in there. And this, as you may know, cats really shouldn't have dairy. So that's one thing that we have, even though they love it, they don't digest dairy very well. So one question we get when we talk about milk protein with this, it's extracted out of the milk protein, so there is nothing that causes digestive issues. There's no lactose, no anything else in there. It's just the protein that we're able to pull out and use as a building block to make these.
Yeah.
They look
aside like little cereal pieces. They're real light and airy. They look like cereal.
Yeah, they're kind of crunchy for the cats, so they usually like chewing them up. Very kind of right-sized for them, pretty similar to their kibble. But definitely these things are 75% or more protein and less than a single calorie per puff. So these are a great option. For dogs, we actually recommend them quite a bit for training. But for the cats, it's a great one because you can give them a whole handful of these things and they're not racking up a ton of calories. There's no sugars, a lot of other treats and things. You got to watch because you could be giving them a little handful of stuff and I mean, it could be half their daily allowance of calories in a few treats.
Less than 1 calorie per treat?
Yeah, the cat ones are actually usually about 1/3 of a calorie per treat. So you can actually give them a pretty good assortment every day. And you're not running up calories. And they're very high protein. So perfect for an obligate carnivore like cats.
Yeah. Are there other cat treats that do really well for you guys that maybe we don't have in the
These
store?
are the only cat items that we currently make. So those are ones, it's a category I hope we expand a bit further into.
Hopefully,
we definitely, I mean, dogs are our bread and butter, but I don't think there's enough companies making great quality cat treats these days. So I do love to, would love to see our research and development team come up with some other new fun stuff for them.
Yeah.
But for now, the protein puffs are certainly a great option.
Right. That's awesome. Well, hopefully that answers Deborah's question. And hopefully we, RedBarn and other companies can expand their treat selection a little bit. I mean, and just like going off of that, do people tell you that their cats will sometimes lick or eat the dog treats? I mean, I can't see that being really harmful for them either. I mean, our cats like lick them and stuff. They've not been able to chew down one of the treats by any means, but our cat Piper really likes to lick all of the bully slices and the bully sticks when people are checking out at the counter. So I don't know. You can see if your cat wants to lick on a pig ear or something. I don't know.
There are some of our treat options that I have heard of people giving to cats.
Yeah.
Just about any of these, there's really no problem with giving them to a cat. It's really just a matter of whether they can chew them or eat them down. But again, some of the softer items like the puff braids, esophagus, those things are pretty good for them. A cat usually, while they may lick on them, they're probably going to have a little trouble, actually trying to chew down a bully stick or a bone. But doesn't mean they won't try.
Exactly. They have sharp teeth.
Yeah.
So, well, we'll keep going. And again, just holler out your questions if you have any. One of the ones that I had was, where are Red Barn products sourced?
It's a good question. The overwhelming majority of our products are entirely sourced in the U.S. We do get some of our pork for like pig ears and stuff is U.S., but Canada as well. So the overwhelming majority is U.S. and Canada. There's a few exceptions to that, such as lamb. In the pet industry, lamb comes almost exclusively from New Zealand.
Right.
They're the biggest lamb producer in the world, but they also have very excellent quality lamb. So most of us will go there. The one other exception for our line, we have our production plant in Great Bend, Kansas, where we make probably 90% of our products. However, we have a second facility in Paraguay, South America, and that we own and operate that facility. So we do all of the same testing protocol, all the same procedures that we do in Kansas, we do down there as well. But it puts us close to our beef sources.
Right.
So in South America, we actually get better quality beef in Paraguay, Argentina, Brazil. All of our cattle are free-range, grass-fed beef. They're not loaded up with a bunch of antibiotics and hormones.
Right.
They are as natural as you can get. So as much as people do love seeing made in the U.S., and we try to keep as many of our products there, there are sometimes instances where we can get a better quality there.
Beef product there.
Yeah. The other thing is just simple practicality. In the U.S., cattle production is very industrialized. They artificially inseminate most of the cattle, and so they only keep a couple of bulls around, and they can artificially inseminate all the ladies, and they don't need to keep the ornery, angry bulls to maturity. If you're familiar with bully sticks, and these are one of our most popular items.
For sure.
We sell millions of these things a year, and you only get one off of every bull.
Right.
There are not enough male bulls in the United States to come anywhere close to what we produce in a year.
Wow.
So down in South America, because they still ranch naturally down there, they have all the bulls around. We can get a steady supply of bully sticks there. So yeah, part of it's quality, part of it is just sheer, there's no way production. At our size we could get enough in the U.S.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why when we realized this probably 10, 15 years back, our founders, Jeff and Howie, knew that we could not continue to grow sourcing everything in the U.S. That's why they actually went down and we purchased and we own and operate that facility down there so that we could do everything, get the stuff as fresh as possible, roast it, and then everything that's roasted down in Paraguay, it still ends up getting shipped to Kansas where we retest it and we package everything in the U.S. before going out to the market.
Oh, that's cool. Have you ever been down there to see the plant?
No, not. I've been to our Kansas plant, and I've been to our dental chew plant in Rochester, New York.
Okay.
These are produced. I've been to those two. Yeah, they haven't shelled out for a couple $1,000 plane tickets down there for our whole sales team yet, but cool. We can keep our fingers crossed.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, we sell a
I've seen lots
ton
of
bully
pictures.
sticks though. Bully sticks, and like we have some new bully sticks too, which I don't think that Brad has them out here yet. Do you have like the little tiny ones? Do you want to show people? So we have the bully springs. These are, and we're starting to get away from like some of the original bully sticks and just carrying the odor-free type ones. So we have the odor-free bully springs. We have some bully rings as well, and then Brad has some new things that he's going to be putting out. Of course, we have like the original, the 12-inch bully sticks. Oh, yeah, these are good. We haven't had these for a while. They're the odor-free bully braids. These are 7 inches, and then we have these little tiny ones, which are really good for like your small breed dogs. So those are little and they're twisted, so that, I mean, was the purpose of that, I'm assuming, too, just to make it a little harder for them to chew it down?
Yeah, a little bit more entertaining. It kind of stimulates them being a little bit more engaged with it.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
And then another odor-free, a 7-inch bully sticks. These are, like, I'm impressed, too, with the size of them because they're not like skinny little bully sticks either. I mean, these are good size, so they're gonna last your dog longer too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, bully sticks are some of the highest protein, highest fiber treats on the market. They are pretty well universally appealing. There are very, very few dogs that do not go nuts for the bully sticks. And as a large breed owner, I'm always looking for stuff. Like, we don't do a ton of biscuits in my household because the dogs they can inhale a whole bag in seconds. Yeah. So bully sticks are something, some of the larger bones are things that actually keep them occupied and that they can't immediately inhale, which is always nice. Another one I can recommend for chew time and durability.
Yeah, we talked about this.
The beef cheek rolls. These have been the most successful product launch in RedBarn's history.
Oh, awesome.
We've been doing this for 25 years, and we've had a lot of really great product launches. These things just came out maybe end of last year, beginning of this year.
Yeah.
We can't even keep up with the demand on them. They are so popular. And for any of your large breed owners or power chewers, these are something that even the small size of these lasted my dogs for a couple hours.
Yeah.
These large ones here, I would probably let my dogs chew on them for a couple hours, take it away, give it back to them another night. You've got multiple, nights usually of chew time on these, and the dogs love them. They're, very, very durable and keeps them occupied. And we've got them in both the plain, just standard beef cheek rolls, or these ones are a chicken and carrot glazed roll, which provides a little extra flavor and nutrition for them.
Right. Yeah. And like you said, you can take them away to make them last longer, but they can also be chewed in one setting, and that's safe too. And your dogs are going to be, should be able to handle that and digest it well. But yeah, that's a good way to make your treats last longer. Give it to them for 30 minutes, an hour, then take it away, and then give it to them the next day or whatever. But we've been noticing a lot of good feedback on those beef cheek rolls. So if your dogs haven't tried it, I think just the size of it too is impressive. Compared to the slices and the ears and even the bully sticks and stuff like that. Like the beef cheek rolls are just a good size for even those like larger breed dogs, like the Danes or the Rottweilers, the Pit Bulls, those sort of things. Those are a really good size treat for them. So we let Rolly. Rolly was sunbathing. Oh man. Okay, let me look for my phone again. Oh, here we go. So then we have a comment here too. So Tanya was saying that she had no idea that the bully sticks were odor-free. So because traditionally they do have a smell to them, an odor. We get that feedback a lot. And so if you haven't tried the odor-free bully sticks, give it a shot. I mean, I'm sure there's still a little bit of smell to it. Or do you get that at all?
The odor-free, not really.
Okay.
Yeah, we do have most of them available in both options,
right.
The standard ones. And while I will not deny that you will get our standard bully sticks occasionally, some of them you'll get a little bit of smell when the dog starts chomping those things up. But I can tell you, even our standard ones tend to be fairly low odor. It's just occasionally you'll get ones where there's little micro pockets of like air or moisture inside the stick that don't fully cook out, and then when the dog starts chomping it up, you'll get a little bit of stink from it. But if you've used some of the like cheap bully sticks that we see out there in the market, some of them are downright nasty smelling. Like, they'll stink up the whole room. I've never had a RedBarn one really do that.
Yeah.
Another little trick, since I have to carry, cases of these around with me in the car and in the hot sun in the summer, if you ever get one or, a few of them that tend to be a little bit more ripe, you can stick them in the freezer overnight, and that will usually eliminate the smell to them as well.
Oh, that's good. And give it to them frozen after?
You can do that, or let it thaw out either.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Or, if you're especially sensitive to the odor, the odor-free options, they go through an extra cleaning and washing process.
Okay.
And we select ones that are least likely to have those little micro pockets of moisture or air in there as well. So we can basically clean out all of the smell on those odor-free ones.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah. So that's awesome. Okay. Yeah, little smells okay, she was saying.
Or, I know what she's talking about. Yeah, although I found, at least for my dogs, the hooves, those probably smell more than the bully sticks do.
Oh,
yeah. A hoof is, for a cow, it's basically like our fingernails or hair. And so when they start chewing that up, you pretty much smell everything that cow ever stepped in, which was, cow manure and dirt. Those ones, as they kind of crunch them up, can be a little stinkier.
Yeah. So, I mean, is it okay if they start to chew up the hoof and gnaw it down? So that's all completely edible.
Yeah, most dogs will chew those down and everything. You do want to make sure with something like that, because a hoof is definitely very hard, and if they start crunching this up and you start getting like splinters or they start cracking it apart, that's usually where you want to take it away and pitch those pieces. But most dogs will just kind of whittle them down around the edges, and that's perfectly fine. That's all edible.
Well, that's good. Well, that kind of goes into like one of the other questions we had, which was, how does RedBarn make sure that their bones are safe? And, because we do get that question a lot from people. They're like, well, can I give my dog a bone? Can I give my dog table bones, cooked bones? So, how are these different? And what do you guys do to ensure that they're safe?
Safety is always number one priority with chews and treats. We always recommend that you give any kind of chew supervised with the dog. It's not something where if you're crating them and leaving them for work, most things you don't want to just toss in the crate with them. Dogs can choke on anything, so usually it's best if you're there supervising them. However, on our bones, we take a great deal of care to make sure that we've got things that are appropriate for the dogs. Right. So there's actually a number of bones, things that are actually out in the marketplace that RedBarn does not make, specifically because we think that they're a little risky for people to be giving. A good example of that is rib bones.
Okay.
Rib bones are excellent for your small breeds, your moderate chewers. That's just fine to give to them. Yeah. But they're inexpensive, and we know a lot of times consumers will give them to like a pit bull or something who can just shatter them like glass, and they'll splinter them, and if they swallow a piece, it's really pretty dangerous. So our owners have said we won't even make those because they're just too risky. Almost all of our bone products, though, are beef femurs. Those are the safest option for all dogs. Okay. If you think about it, the beef femur is in the cow's leg. Okay. So you got 4 of these little sticks hold up a 1,000-pound animal. That's true. They are very, very durable. So all of our filled bones are beef femur segments. The meaty bones, or our big knuckle bones, these are the ends of a beef femur. The knuckles and like kneecaps and things.
We've got some of your 2-pack kneecaps.
Yeah, some of the little kneecaps. Yeah. These tend to, as the dogs chew them down, they kind of crumble a bit more like tempered glass. So that's very safe because the little bits and pieces aren't going to pose. They're not going to be sharp. They're not going to be a choking hazard. And then like these white bones, these, because these ones aren't smoked or cooked, we basically just thoroughly clean them and polish them to get these nice white bones. These things are very, very tough. There are very few dogs that will actually chew these things down.
Yeah.
Most dogs, they sit there looking at the filling that we put in these for hours.
Yeah.
And you can actually, when they finish that, you can refill them with canned food.
That's true. You can reuse them.
I've used the protein puffs or some of our other, meat chews, the rolled foods.
The rolled stuff is good.
You can cram in there. You can stick it in the freezer, and then you've got another one ready to go when you need it. But these things on my big, huge dogs, they will, even without them filled, they'll chew on them from time to time as a boredom buster.
Yeah.
But it's usually about 6 to 9 months before they will finally chew them down a bit or crack them apart, and that's usually when I pitch them and get them a new one.
Yeah. So we have a lot of different flavors of those and different sizes. There's 2 different sizes that we carry.
Yeah, both the small and the large. And these, especially in 2020, as a lot of us have been, sheltering at home, not going out as much, a lot of people working from home, schooling from home, boredom busters have become something that's almost necessary. It was all entertaining for us the first week or two when the dogs were there all the time, always. And then once you realize that you still had to get things done around the house, sometimes you need something to kind of keep them out of the way and occupied. The filled bones are an excellent option for that. These, you basically give them one of these and they'll spend the next couple hours usually licking at the filling, trying to get that stuff out of there. So
I like to say that they're a good babysitter.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I call these my football season treats because whenever we want to sit down and watch a game and not have them underfoot for a few hours, we pull these out and works great. They'll sit there on their bed.
They are solid treats. I'll give them that. I mean, just picking one up, they're solid.
Yeah. One last thing on the bone front there. Since you guys do have our ham bones. So these are one of the products. Pork bones are a little bit softer, not quite as durable as the beef femurs.
Okay.
So these are a bit of a larger bone, but these are ones that I typically don't recommend for your real aggressive power chewers. These ones on a pit bull, a Rottweiler, even some labs or mastiffs, if they really go to town on stuff and just come down with all their force. Ham bones are a little bit more brittle. They can kind of break or crack these things. But these are ideal for anything other than those really aggressive, chewers. A good
medium-sized
dog. Any medium, smaller-sized dog,
Yeah.
these will work fine. Even some of your bigger giant breeds, if they're not super aggressive with their chewing, these are still decent options. But whenever possible, if you've got a large breed or an aggressive chewer, go with the femurs. Yeah, any of the beef bones are going to be excellent options.
At our other store at the East, we do have your big dino bones too.
Oh, the mammoth bones?
Yeah, they're the mammoth bones.
Yeah, those are a full beef femur. So
that's
usually about a 2.5 foot one, and that is essentially a couple of these meaty bones in the middle, and then a couple of the knuckles on the end is an entire femur.
Oh yeah, I wish we had one here to show you, but we do have some of those at the East location. We'll have to bring some over. Okay, let's see. We're wrapping up really on our time, and Jason does have to hit the road, and he's got some other stops that he has to make. I think we really covered a lot of these questions, and looks like there weren't any new questions on our live feed. But if you guys do have questions after the video, you can shoot me an email, you can send me a Facebook message, and we can get in touch with Jason as well. I guess lastly, you do have the rolls. Do you want to talk about the rolls? This was how Red Barn got started. Was actually these could be meal replacement rolls, and we were talking earlier, and Jason actually mentioned that a lot of places are getting rid of their meat rolls, but they've continued to expand on it, and it's probably one of your best sellers, I would, right?
Yeah, we've been doing these for close to 25 years. As you mentioned, the rolled foods were our very first products that Jeff and Howie started making, and they've continued to sell well. And we have seen out in the marketplace, you definitely, rolled food is not as big a category as like your kibble or your freeze-dried items, but still very popular, and a lot of companies have kind of gone away from them as they've gotten, more corporatized. Red Barn's still a family-owned company. Our founders are still running the company. Their kids work for us as well.
Cool.
So we will do things a little bit differently. It's not just about what's the most profitable option. We will do things because we think it's the best nutrition, or it gives us a better portfolio of products. So the rolled foods, we definitely sell a ton of these things, and we have beef, chicken, and lamb options, and a lot of them come from these little tiny 4-ounce chubs that are great for a trial size or a quick treat, all the way up to our 4-pound logs that you can slice off and use as needed. The biggest options on these, they are a complete balanced diet.
Yes.
So you could feed this and nothing else, and your dog would get everything that they needed. Most people more commonly, though, use them for toppers on the meal. You can actually slice cube, or even take a cheese grater to these and shred it on top of the food. They're also very popular for training treats.
Yes.
You can actually cut these and cut them into little cubes, and they're a little malleable.
Yes.
So you can, stick a bunch in your pockets. They work great as pill hides because you can kind of wrap them around a pill and give them to them like that. And I will tell you, my dogs have access to obviously just about everything Red Barn. These are their absolute favorite treats. They go berserk for these. They smell fantastic, kind of like smoked sausage when you open them up. I will tell you, I have eaten these. I wouldn't recommend that. They smell great. They don't taste quite as good for the human palate, but the dogs don't seem to care. So these are definitely great options for feeding, training, treating, just about a lot of versatility with them, and just an excellent healthy kind of treat that the dogs will go pretty nuts for.
Yeah, our trainers here at the West location with Got Your Six Dog Training, they swear by those. They've tried so many other treats, and then Jason had us try some of those and sample them, and so our trainers used them, and they were like, you guys have to keep ordering these. So we brought them into our store, and I've heard of people using them for treat pockets, or pill pockets. And like you were saying earlier, they work really good to refill these bones once they've cleaned out the filling. You can, since that's moldable, you can put it right back in your treats, and they work really good for our treat treat pocket toys, like our West Paws and our Planet Dog toys, and some of those other ones where they dispense treats or where you can stuff treats in. Those work really good for that.
Yeah. Another thing I find these pretty popular for are both people who do a lot of camping or hunting, and if you take your dogs out in the field with you.
Right.
These things, we pasteurize these. They basically are cooked in the sleeves as we make them.
Okay.
So we don't have to use a ton of preservatives or anything. They are shelf stable, so they don't require refrigeration. We usually recommend, if you get a big log, once you cut it open, stick it in a Ziploc baggie or something, toss it in the fridge. It'll keep it fresher a bit longer. longer. But if you're going out for a long weekend or something, you obviously don't want to drag a 30-pound bag of kibble with you out into the woods. I will use these pretty frequently where I can toss one of these logs in my pack. It's a really high protein, great treat for them or food for them. You just slice off what you need, and I find for 2, 3, 4 days, even if you just open it and stick it in a Ziploc baggie, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's not like it needs to be.
Well, we went camping last weekend. We should have brought that for the dogs. That would have been easier than hauling
a little
our
easier
food.
than all the kibble and
that would have been
everything
easier.
else. Yeah.
So, well, awesome. I feel like we got to cover a lot, and so I felt like that was really good. I know I learned a lot of things as well. So I hope that these lunch and learns are really useful for you guys too, watching it at home. And we thank you for tuning in. And again, if you guys have any questions about our natural chews, just please ask us. But I feel like we do a really good job of carefully selecting the treats and the brands that we bring in, and so we're really thankful to have RedBarn and that Jason could come and talk to us a little bit more. And so anyways, well, thank you so much again.
Thanks so much
we're
for
going to
having
end
me.
the video, and we do have more lunch and learns planned. Next week, I think we're talking about super snouts, and I think Adam Campeter with Diamond and Taste of the Wild is going to be talking with us next week about ancient grains and things like that. So stay tuned for those, and we'll catch you guys later. Okay. Yay.